Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Chapter 94.
So, setting the scene, Wei is getting pretty desperate, right? Shu's pushing north, and Cao Zhen and Guo Wai need to stop Kongming.
Desperate is the word. Their regular tactics aren't working. They realize they need something big, something external, to shift the balance.
And that leads them to the Western King. They send envoys.
Yes, high-level envoys. And they're not just offering payment. They bring gold, jewels, and the promise of Heikon.
That's the Peace Marriage Alliance, a serious political commitment.
Huge. It's meant to bind the Qiang to Wei permanently, basically securing Wei's entire western flank against Shu.
Oh, it works.
It does. King Qiliji agrees. They mobilize a massive army, something like 150,000 soldiers, led by their chief minister Yadan and Marshal Yuji.
Wow. And these king forces, they weren't just standard infantry, were they?
Not at all. They were known for archery, sure, bows and crossbows, but they also had specialized troops. Spearmen, knives, even things like caltrops scattered on the battlefield.
Caltrops, those nasty spiked things.
Yeah.
And flying hammers.
Yeah. Nasty close combat or thrown weapons, very effective. But the real game changer, the thing that terrified Shu, was the iron chariot troops. The Tikbibing.
Okay, tell us about these. They sound formidable.
Oh, they were. Think heavy chariots, but wrapped entirely in iron plating. Pulled by camels, sometimes mules or horses.
So like ancient tanks, what was their function?
Kind of a triple threat, really. They could transport supplies securely within the formation. They offered incredible protection. And tactically,
How were they used?
they'd lock them together side by side. It created this moving armored wall, like a mobile fortress, almost impossible to break with a standard charge.
I see. So for Shu's cavalry-focused tactics, this is a nightmare.
A complete nightmare. The weight, the armor, the unbroken line, plus the supporting troops with caltrops and hammers to deter flankers, it seemed impenetrable.
So Kongming gets word of this massive Qiang army on his flank, armed with this new tech. What's his move?
He reacts fast, sends out Guanxing and Zhang Bao, with Ma Dai guiding them to intercept. But even these elite generals were in for a shock.
They saw the chariots formation.
Guanxing observed it first, reported back about this perfect, unbreakable wall of iron, and when they actually engaged, well, it was bad.
How bad?
The sources describe the chariots moving like a tide, just rolling over the shoe lines. Guanxing himself gets isolated, trapped.
And the king commander, Yuji.
Marshal Yuji targets him directly, wields this huge iron hammer, smashes Guanxing's horse. Guanxing goes down, falls into a stream. It looked like the end for him.
A total disaster. But then something strange happens, right? This vision.
Yeah, this is one of those moments in the text that's just incredible. Guanxing, struggling for his life, reports seeing his father, Guan Yu,
The god of war himself.
appearing just as he's remembered. Green robe, gold armor, green dragon crescent blade, red hair horse, the whole iconic image.
And the vision helps him.
Directs him to safety, apparently. But what's really striking is that Zhang Bao, fighting elsewhere, also reports seeing Guan Yu's apparition.
No way.
Yes. Says the figure scattered the Qiang troops chasing him and then specifically pointed him towards where Guanxing was trapped, allowing him to make the rescue.
So it wasn't just one man's hallucination near death. It's reported by two different generals.
Which, whether you take it literally or psychologically, it shows the sheer terror and desperation this new enemy inspired. Needing divine intervention just to survive the first fight, that's a massive blow to Shu morale.
Okay, so Shu's forces are reeling. They've been hammered by this new tech. They're demoralized, maybe even spooked. How does Kongming turn this around?
Well, Guanxing and Zhang Bao report back detailing the chariot's power, the defeat. And Kongming, he listens, travels to a high vantage point, observes the enemy formation himself.
Panics. Orders a retreat.
Nope. Completely calm. According to the sources, he just watches them for a while and then says, basically, this isn't hard to beat.
After seeing his best generals routed, what did he see that they didn't?
He wasn't looking at the armor. He was looking at the sky, the ground, the time of year. It's late December. He sees heavy clouds, feels that cold northern wind.
And he makes a prediction.
A very precise one. Heavy snow. Imminent. He realized the chariot's strength, their weight and momentum was only effective on flat, dry ground. Snow and mud would change everything.
So he decides to use the environment itself as the weapon.
Exactly. It's classic Kongming. He has his troops secretly dig pits and trenches along specific mountain paths, camouflaged, of course, knowing the snow would hide them completely.
Clever. Then what?
He positions his best generals, Zhao Yun and Wei Yan, for hidden ambushes. Then he sends Jiang Wei out for a frontal attack.
Wait, another frontal attack after the last disaster.
But with specific orders. engage, make it look real, but the instant the iron chariots commit, retreat, fall back, draw them in.
Okay, the lure. And then comes the psychological element.
The masterstroke, the main Shu camp, left totally empty, just flags flapping in the wind. An empty display.
And inside this big empty camp.
So Kongming, maybe a few guards, and he's sitting there, calmly playing his zither, gujisheng, the sound carrying on the wind.
The empty fort strategy, again. But why would seasoned commanders like Yu Weiji and Yadan fall for that, especially after a victory?
That's a really good point. It wasn't just the empty fort trick. I think it was more about confirmation bias. They'd just won easily with their super weapon.
Right, they already believed Shu was terrified and broken.
Exactly. So Jiang Wei retreats. The camp looks deserted. Kongming is seen casually leaving in a carriage. It doesn't look like a complex trap. It looks like panic, a desperate flight.
Their own victory and technological superiority blinded them.
Precisely. Their arrogance made them dismiss the scene as a simple trick Giji and commit fully to the pursuit. They wanted the final kill.
Chasing Kongming into the snow-covered mountains.
Right where Kongming wanted them. Marshal Yuji especially is pushing the pursuit hard across the specific mountain path and the snow. It makes everything look perfectly flat. Yuan Pingtian.
Uh-oh. I see where this is going.
Yep. Suddenly the ground under the lead Kang ranks just collapses, a sound like a mountain crumbling. Soldiers plunge into the hidden pits and trenches.
And the iron chariots behind them.
Can't stop. They're running at speed, packed together. Their own weight and momentum become the weapon against them. The rear chariots literally crash into and crush the ones that fell in front. Utter chaos.
Their greatest strength turned into their greatest weakness by the terrain.
Perfectly exploited. And then the ambushes spring. Zhao Yun, Wei Yan, their forces attack from all sides into the panicked, broken Chang formation.
And Guanxing gets his revenge.
He does. Finds Marshal Yuji in the chaos and kills him with a single stroke. Meanwhile, Ma Dai captures the other leader, Chief Minister Yadan, alive. A complete rout.
Decisive victory. But Kongming doesn't stop there, does he? The diplomatic move is next.
This is where it elevates beyond just a clever battle. Kongming treats the captured Yadan with incredible respect, cuts his bonds himself, offers him wine, treats him like an honored guest, not a prisoner.
Okay. And then
He does something astonishing. He releases Yadan. And not just him, he returns all the captured Chang soldiers, all their remaining chariots, all their weapons, everything.
wow, just gives it all back. Why? What was the message to the Qian king?
The message was powerful and clear. Shu is your neighbor. We can defend ourselves decisively, but we desire peace. Forget Wei, he calls them the rebels. Stick with us, your neighbors.
So instead of punishing them, he shows generosity and strength, basically neutralizing them as a future threat without occupying them or demanding tribute.
Exactly. He turned Wei's expensive diplomatic coup completely on its head and secured his western border through magnanimity. Pure strategic brilliance looking at the long game.
Incredible. Meanwhile, back with the Wei commanders, Cao Zhen and Guo Wai, what are they doing while all this is happening?
Making a huge blunder. They get fragmented reports maybe just that the Chang engaged Shu. They assume the Chang attack is working and that Shu is retreating because of that.
More confirmation bias. They think their plan worked.
Totally. So full of confidence, they launch their own pursuit, trying to catch Kongming's main force in what they think is a panicked retreat.
Straight into another ambush.
Straight into Wei Yan and Zhao Yun, who Kongming had likely repositioned after dealing with the Chang. Wei Yan takes out the Wei vanguard, Cao Zun, almost immediately.
And Zhao Yun, still effective after all these years.
Absolutely lethal, bursts out, kills the vice vanguard Zizan with a single spear thrust. Classic Zhao Yun.
So Wei gets hit hard too.
Devastated. They lose 2 important generals, suffer heavy casualties, lose their forward camp near the Wei River. They're forced into a full retreat. The whole Qian gambit backfired spectacularly.
So the news reaches Liu Yang, reaches Emperor Cao Rui. How does that land?
Like a ton of bricks. Multiple defeats for Cao Zhen, 2 senior officers killed. The expensive Kang alliance totally collapsed and maybe even turned against them. It's a disaster.
The court must have been in turmoil.
You bet. And this is where the political gears start grinding. Grand Commandant Zhang Yao steps up.
And he doesn't mince words, I gather.
Not at all. He basically tells the emperor, look, anyone fighting Zhu Zhiliang needs extraordinary wisdom, and then the killer line, Cao Zhen, bless his heart, is just no match for Zhu Zhiliang.
Coach. Direct.
But he goes further. He provides the excuse, or perhaps the real reason, for the failure. He argues that Kongming only dared to launch this whole campaign in the first place because Wei's best strategist wasn't there to stop him.
He means Sima Yi.
He explicitly names Sima Yi. Says Kongming only advanced because Sima Yi had been removed from power earlier due to some rumors and political maneuvering.
So Zhong Yao is basically saying, we sidelined our best player, and now we're paying the price.
Precisely. He frames Sima Yi's removal as the critical strategic error that enabled Shu's entire campaign, and Cao Rui buys it. He regrets removing Sima Yi.
Where was Sima Yi at this point?
Just sort of. Idling near Wencheng, waiting in the wings, you could say.
And Cao Rui brings him back.
Immediately. Restores his rank, gives him a massive new command, governor of pacifying the West, Pingxi Dudu, orders him to raise troops in Nanyang and meet the emperor at Cheng'an to take over the defense against Shu. Kongming.
Well, he's actually having some success in his campaign. Things are looking up. Then he gets word through Li Feng, that's Li Yan's son, a reliable contact.
And the source of the news.
It's Meng Da. Now, Meng Da is a fascinating figure. He used to be a Shu general, then he defected to Wei. He got some pretty high titles, like Sanqi Changshi, basically an attendant close to the emperor, and he was governor of 3 really key areas, Xincheng, Xinjiang, and Xinjiang.
So he's powerful, but sounds like he wasn't feeling secure under the new Wei emperor, Cao Rui.
Exactly. Despite the titles, he felt vulnerable. So he cooks up this plan, really audacious one.
What was the plan?
He intends to revolt, raise troops in his 3 territories, Xincheng, Jincheng, Shenyang, and make a direct strike at Luoyang, one of the Wei capitals.
And the timing is crucial here, right? He wants to coordinate this with Kongming.
Perfectly timed. While Meng Da hits Luoyang, Kongming is meant to be advancing on Shenyang, the other major capital. If this works, Shu basically gets control of both Wei power centers, a knockout blow.
Wow. Kongming must have been thrilled for a moment there. This is exactly the kind of break he needed.
Oh, absolutely. For a second, it must have seemed like the perfect opportunity. But then, almost immediately, more intelligence comes in, and this changes everything.
What was it?
2 things. First, the Wei emperor, Cao Rui, had personally gone to Chang'an. That shows Wei command knew something serious was happening in the West.
Okay, so they're already reacting. What's the second thing?
This is the big one for Kongming. Cao Rui has recalled Sima Yi, pulled him from his current post, and appointed him Grand Commandant of Pingxi, the Biki's Duduo.
Pingxi Duduo, that sounds important. What does that title mean practically?
It means Supreme Commander for the entire Western Front. CZ is now the guy in charge of dealing with Kongming and stabilizing that whole region. It's a huge consolidation of military power right into his hands.
And that's the moment Kongming's optimism just vanishes.
Instantly. He turns to his advisor, Ma Su, and says that famous line, "I do not fear Cao Rui. I fear only Sima Yi."
He knew right away. Meng Da, whatever his strengths, was simply not in the same league as Sima Yi.
Precisely. Kongming understood immediately that if Sima Yi got involved, the plot was doomed. It says so much about the respect and maybe the fear between these 2 great strategists.
Okay, so the plot's out there. Sima Yi's activated. The big question becomes speed. How fast can Wei react? And this leads us right into Meng Da's, well, his fatal mistake.
Yeah, the debate over time. Kongming tries to warn him. He quickly writes a letter back to Meng Da, basically pleading with him, be extremely careful, be secretive, stressing, Sima Yi's not going to wait around. He'll be there before you know it.
But Meng Da just brushes it off.
Completely. He apparently laughs, calls Kongming multi-hearted, basically saying he's overthinking it, being too paranoid. Meng Da felt secure. He based his safety on 2 things, geography and protocol.
Let's break that down. Protocol first. What was his thinking there?
His calculation was all about bureaucracy. Sima Yi, even as Pingxi Duduo, would have to report to the emperor first, right? Send a memorial, get official approval, wait for the orders to come back. Meng Da estimated that whole process, the round trip for the paperwork, would take at least a month.
30 days. He thought he had a 30-day head start.
A 30-day cushion, exactly. And then there's the distance.
Right, the geography. Sima Yi was based in Wan. That's, 800 leis from Luoyang.
And Xincheng, where Meng Da was, is another 1,200 li from Wan. We're talking roughly 400 to 500 miles in modern terms. That's a long march. It takes time.
So Meng Da's thinking, even if Sima Yi gets approval quickly, it'll take him ages to actually get his troops to Xincheng. Plenty of time to get his own defenses ready.
That was his logic. Solid walls, distance, and bureaucracy. He felt safe.
And when Kongming got Meng Da's confident reply,
The story goes he literally threw the letter down, declared Meng Da was already a dead man.
because Kongming understood something fundamental that Meng Da missed.
Completely. Meng Da was thinking like a politician, relying on rules. Kongming was thinking like a general, invoking pure military doctrine. Attack where they are unprepared, appear where they are unexpected.
He knew Sima Yi wouldn't follow the rules this time.
He argued Sima Yi, with this new supreme authority, facing an existential threat to the capitals, would act instantly. He wouldn't wait for permission. He'd bypass the whole month-long delay.
And Kongming's prediction for how long it would take Sima Yi.
Chillingly precise, not 10 days.
Wow. So Meng Da gives himself 30 days. Kongming gives Sima Yi less than 10, that 20-day difference. That's everything.
That's the whole ballgame right there. It seals Meng Da's fate before Sima Yi even starts marching.
Okay, so let's talk about Sima Yi. How does he actually pull this off? This is where we get into the speed and the deception.
Right, so Sima Yi gets the official recall notice, but almost at the exact same moment he starts getting reports about Meng Da's rebellion. And crucially, these aren't just rumors.
Where are they coming from?
From inside Meng Da's own supposed network. Retainers of Shen Yi, he's the prefect of Jincheng, spill the beans. Then Meng Da's own confidant, Li Fu, and even his nephew, Deng Xian, betray him and reveal all the details.
So Sima Yi has multiple confirmations, the official authority from the recall. What's the next step? His son, Sima Shi, actually advises him to play it safe, right?
Yes, Sima Shi suggests writing a proper memorial to the emperor first. Cover your bases, follow protocol, even if you move fast.
But Sima Yi rejects that. Why?
Because he's thinking about Kongming. He knows Kongming is counting on Wei's usual procedures, that bureaucratic delay. Sima Yi declares that waiting for paperwork, even for a day, could cost him both capitals. Speed is everything. He says waiting would play right into Kongming's hands.
He decides to just go, break protocol completely. That's a huge risk politically.
Massive risk. But he sees the military necessity overrides it, and then he gives the order. It's basically a blitzkrieg command.
What was the order?
He tells his troops they have to cover distances that normally take 2 days of marching in a single day. Double time, forced march. And the penalty for failing to keep up, immediate execution.
He's not messing around. But just marching fast isn't enough if Meng Da gets spooked and locks down Xinjiang too early. How did Sima Yi keep him in the dark?
The deception. This was brilliant. He sends an advisor, Liang Ji, riding ahead of the main army. Liang Ji carries a fake official notice, a
It's a fake order. What did it say?
It essentially told Meng Da, get your troops ready. Sima Yi is marching towards Shanyang to fight Shu. Prepare to support the main effort. It made it look like Sima Yi was marching past Xinjiang, heading west, not directly at Xinjiang.
So Meng Da gets this official-looking document that confirms his own flawed timeline. It looks like Sima Yi is doing exactly what Meng Da expected, focusing on Kongming, far away.
Perfect deception. It completely disarmed Meng Da psychologically. And then something else happens while Sima Yi is on this incredibly fast march.
What's that?
His scouts capture a messenger. And this messenger is carrying another letter from Kongming to Meng Da.
A second warning. Kongming sent another letter.
A second, even more desperate warning, basically saying, be careful, Sima Yi is coming.
Okay, hold on. If Kongming knew Sima Yi was moving that fast, why just send another letter? Why not send troops, an escort, something to help Meng Da?
That's a great question. The likely answer is he couldn't. Kongming was already deeply committed to Qishan. Pulling away a significant force to rescue Meng Da might have compromised his entire northern expedition. Plus, the distances involved. Sima Yi's speed had already put him ahead of any possible relief effort from Kongming's main force.
So Kongming could see it happening, predict it, but he was geographically pinned down. He couldn't actually stop it.
Exactly. His genius was in the prediction, but the strategic reality on the ground limited his options. Sima Yi reads this intercepted letter, Kongming's desperate warning.
What's his reaction?
He's apparently quite impressed. He says something like, able men see alike. He realizes Kongming had perfectly anticipated his speed, but now, knowing Kongming sent this warning makes Sima Yi push even harder. He has to beat the letter.
And that intercepted letter becomes crucial later, right, for justifying his action.
Absolutely. It's the proof he needed that the threat was immediate and bypassing protocol was necessary. It's like heaven delivered him his political cover. He accelerates the march again.
Incredible. The speed, the deception, the captured intelligence, it all leads to this swift, brutal conclusion.
Meng Da is completely fooled. He gets Liang Ji's fake message, thinks Sima Yi is heading off towards Chang'an. He relaxes, sets the date for his revolt, relying on his supposed allies Shandan and Zhenyi.
The prefects of Shangyang and Jinqing, who are secretly waiting to betray him.
The very ones. The trap springs in under 10 days,
Right.
just like Kongming predicted. Sima Yi's vanguard arrives first, led by General Yu Huang.
Yu Huang, one of Wei's most famous generals, right? One of the 5 elites.
That's him, a veteran of decades of war. And here's where there's a moment of real tragedy. Meng Da is up on the walls of Xinsheng as Xu Huang approaches. Meng Da shoots an arrow, hits Xu Huang square in the forehead.
No! Kills him.
Xu Huang dies later that evening. He was 59. Survived all those major campaigns against Liu Bei, Guan Yu, only to be killed by a desperate rebel in what should have been a minor siege. A huge loss for Wei, even as they're about to win.
Wow. That's brutal. But Xu Huang's death doesn't stop the attack.
No, Sima Yi arrives right after with the main force. He immediately surrounds the city. And then the betrayal happens all at once.
Shendan and Shenyi.
They attack Meng Da's forces from the outside, shouting for the defenders to surrender. At the same time, Li Fu and Deng Xi, Meng Da's confidant and nephew, open the city gates from the inside.
It just completely collapses.
Instantly. Total chaos. Meng Da tries to fight his way out, tries to escape, but he's cut down. Killed by a spear thrust from Shendan, one of the men he trusted.
So the revolt is crushed. Sima Yi took maybe 8 or 9 days from learning about the plot to Meng Da being dead. Incredible speed.
This astonishing execution. And then comes the political maneuvering. Sima Yi has to report back to Emperor Cao Rui. He just marched an army without explicit permission, broke all kinds of rules.
How does he explain himself? This is where that intercepted letter comes in.
Exactly. He goes to Cao Rui, likely expecting some censure, but he presents Kongming's captured letter. He holds it up as physical evidence. Look, he basically says, this proves the danger was real, it was immediate. If I had waited for your majesty's decree, following standard procedure, Luoyang and Chang'an would likely belong to Shu right now.
He frames his disobedience as the very act that saved the empire.
Perfectly. He proves the speed was absolutely necessary, not just him being ambitious or reckless.
And Cao Rui's reaction, he must have been relieved the threat was gone.
More than relieved, he was apparently delighted. His throne was secure. He showers Sima Yi with rewards, gives him ceremonial golden battle axes, a huge honor. But the most important reward.
What was that?
He grants Sima Yi the formal authority to act first and report later on secret and important matters. That phrase, bian yi xingxi, convenient action.
Bian yi xingxi. Let's unpack that. What does convenient action really mean in this context? Is it just a pat on the back?
Oh, it's far more than that. It's a fundamental shift in power. Normally, all major military and political decisions require the emperor's explicit approval. Granting bian yi xingxi means Cao Rui is officially giving Sima Yi the right to make critical decisions on his own authority immediately, without waiting for imperial consent.
He essentially gave Sima Yi the power to bypass the entire imperial bureaucracy when he deemed it necessary.
Precisely. It's unprecedented autonomy for a subject.